I implemented a number of sport leaderboards with the WordPress plugin. Before that, couple of practical things. So the restrooms are that way, drinks are that way, and then I truly want people to get to know somebody that you didn't know before. So because this is an event for the community, by the community, and we are just providing spaces and facilities for this. So please network, get to know the people that love the system that you love too. In late spring 2017 there will be WordCamp Finland most probably. The planning is ongoing. If you are interested in helping out, then talk with Kirsi. And there's a Slack channel where the Finnish or people residing in Finland dealing with WordPress are chatting. Then if you are interested in that, then go to Google and search for WordPress Slack Finland or WordPress Slack Suomi, and then you should find the place. So let's get started with the sport leaderboards and few backgrounds. So this system is implemented for IFK Grankulla IFK. That is a local ice hockey program or club in Kauniainen, nested inside Espoo, like 20 kilometers northwest. Around 10,000 people residing in the city, and there are 741 hockey players. So it doesn't mean that 7.4% of the Kauniainen residents are playing ice hockey, because it also sucks a lot of people from Espoo, Kirkkonummi, some people from Helsinki and so forth. But it's a relatively big junior hockey or general hockey, ice hockey club in Finland. And as said, I'm CEO founder of Exove. I happen to be also team leader of Grankulla 05 team. I'm a hockey referee from last February onwards, so I'm quite rookie on that. There's a selfie of me in Barona, or is it Metro Arena nowadays, before a game that went really bad from the referee point of view. So I stopped taking selfies, because that was a sign. So the hockey players, they are always a bit superstitious, so my referees wouldn't need that either. And I've been developing with WordPress from 2004, and this is actually the first time that I show code to anybody. So let's see how it goes. 05 team is, this is a picture from last year. There's a new picture is taken but not available yet. It misses like 10 people. We got a number of new players. I'm here. My son is here. Fortunately, he looks more like his mother and not me. And then we have a number of other guys and one girl in the team. She is not in the picture right now, but we have mostly 05 players. We have a few that are born on 06, and then the girl is born 04, because girls can play, when they play on boys league, they can be maximum 2 years older to compensate the size and so forth. But she's actually bigger than any of the guys, so and really good player. Granny on Ice, where the leaderboards is developed, is an annual junior ice hockey tournament or series of tournaments. There are 2017. There are 6 tournaments on 7 days in the spring, typically in April and May, after the regular hockey season for juniors have stopped, so the series is not playing anymore, and that happens somewhere mid-March, mid-April, depends on the series and the age group of the people. And there are a few of these also on autumn for the bigger boys that are like 16, 17. And it's one of the biggest sources of income for the teams. The income sources for a team is typically the wallets of the parents, tournaments, and then maybe some sponsors. And that's about it. I happen to be one of the rare parents in both teams. I have sons in playing on 05 and 07 that actually can code. So naturally, all the IT things have sort of fall on my lap. I have made sites. This is actually the first time when 05 started. We have had 3 tournaments now, and then the 4th is coming this spring. I started to make a site. This was first tournament, running on ice tournament that actually had its own site. Now 05, 06 and 07 have their sites. 06 was not done by I, just donated the code. And then 08 most probably will have a site that I most probably will be asked whether I could do that too, so maybe I have to do it. I selected WordPress because I want to keep things simple and maintainable, that I don't need to fix every single thing, but the content editors can do their work. And then I checked out 3 years ago that there are no good sports leaderboard plugins or systems available for WordPress. There are all kinds. I installed a few of them, and them all sucked in different ways. That they were bad. They're either ugly, non-functional, didn't support ice hockey, or all of them combined. So I decided to write my own. That's the usual Finnish way. So these are the sites for the last year's tournaments for the 05, sponsored by Sanoma. So we got the I don't know what's Taikavita in English, but one of the Donald Duck less restricted versions of the Donald Ducks for the licensing point of view that we could use, and then the 07 tournament, and then the leaderboards, one of those. So this shows the series and the results that on the Division A. That means there's AAA, AA, and A series. AAA is where the fastest players are, then AA, and then this is where the newcomers or the people that play less are in. That they are, how to say, less able to play hockey compared to the others. That we have different skill sets, so that the kids get to play with the opponents that are equal in strength. Because you don't learn if you lose like 18-0, you don't lose anything, or if you win 18-0, you don't learn anything. But if you play 10-10, then you learn a lot. So Oriveden Fortuna won with 10 points, 4 games, 3 wins, 1 lose, and so forth. And then on the AA series, Kiekko Vantaa from Vantaa was the best one, Pelicans 2000 from Lahti, and then we were 4th. We were quite nice host that we didn't win in each of these. And then 07 had a bit different system. That they don't have the skill levels yet. They will come later, and they actually play with the half rink. So the rink is divided, the divider, and there are 2 games simultaneously playing there, and it's looks like hockey, but it's completely different game compared to real hockey. But it teaches the kids, and then everybody can actually also the slower ones have the chances to touch the puck at least once in a game, instead of that it always on the other end of where the game is. And this has a bit different structure. That there are finals, there's semi-finals, there's the basic games. There are 6 leaderboards available, and then 1 extra one that I didn't mention here. There's the program that shows that who is going to play with whom, when and where, especially when there are 2 of the when the rink is divided, that whether you are playing on this end or that end. Sometimes it might be that there are 2 Granny teams and 2 Blues teams playing simultaneously, because it's logistically it's easy that the teams that they typically are 2 or 3 teams come from 2 or 3 groups come from 1 team, so they play together, so they are easy to come and go, so forth. It might be that there are like a lot of reds and a lot of whites in playing, and you don't know which game is which game, unless you can see that okay, you go to the Café end or you go to the clock end, as in Kauniainen. Game results with goals. What was the result of the game actually? That's surprisingly important also for the players and especially for the parents. Ranking that who is the best, as we saw, and who lost and so forth. And in between, it might be with inside the divisions that we have a number of divisions that we play first, and then we have semi-finals and we have finals, or then we have 2 skill levels or 3 different skill levels in the tournament that they don't play. That the skill level A and skill level AA, they don't play. The teams don't play between those, but they play only inside the skill level. And here with the 07, they just all the teams can play to anybody. Who is the top scorer? The most important thing for the kids, I have made 7 goals already, or I have assisted, and so forth. That this is the when we have a digital signage systems in the ice hall or rink, next to rink. And when we see that, okay, as top scorers, there's a huge amount of kids always watching that, okay, our guys are here, and this is from our team, or this from that team, I know that guy, and so forth. Top saves for goaltenders. This is, in the junior games, it's surprisingly hard to make a save compared to the real games. I don't know whether the goaltenders get better or probably bigger, because the goal size is exactly the same. But the typical ratio is like 70-80. And with the adults it's like 90-95 or something like that, unless they fail in that certain one game. And then the player list for each team, that they actually can see that in which team my son is playing. That is hugely important for parents. And then one extra for the slap shots. So slap shot means, it's in Finnish it's a lyöntilaukaus, other words lämäri. So you hit the puck really hard with the slap it in a sense. So we have a competition that who gets the most powerful slap shot measured by the speed of the puck. And 11-year-old, the best one that won it was like 105 kilometers per hour or something like that. Most probably none of us could do that. So but he has been practicing that for probably 7 years or so. So and that's shown as a separate leaderboard. Let's go to technology now. So the data model is pretty simple. There's a game that has a division, it might have a series, it has a time, it has location, and so forth. Game has 2 teams. There's home team and there's away team. Home team is always mentioned first, and they play with their own colors, and then there's away team that plays with white colors. So that's always important to know that who's away team, that they can find out which jersey they need to put on. Team has a player. Player can be only in one team. This is sometimes a bit cumbersome in this data model, because sometimes they might want to share a goaltender between teams for injuries or whatever. And then players make goals, and goalies that are also players make saves. And save is also related to game, as well as a goal is done in a game. And then we have intermissions that are breaks between games. Okay, now there's the Zamboni is running for 10 minutes, or there's some competition that the ice is used for. That has been we have had skating competition and frisbee competition and all these kind of things. And based from that data, we get this kind of stuff. So this shows, for example, that this is the program for the first set of games in the divisions. There's the intermissions here, and here's one the frisbee competition I mentioned. The next set, I don't know what is this in English, the jatkosarja, sort of the continuation games in a sense, and then the finals. And they might have results, or they might have that which teams are playing and so forth, and then the division and so forth. On the results, each game they are listed in the order of time, so you can see that this is how the things are going, and then these are zeros until it's played. You can open from here. You can open that who has made the goals and with time, and what has the score been in those and so forth. And then the final is on the right hand side is the top scorers that has the game the times of the goals, and then also mention that whether that was a hat trick or not. That's also hugely important for the players. To make things more interesting for the coders, there is a huge number of different models to how to run the tournament. It depends on the number of teams, amount of ice, the number of games you want to have, and so forth. And depending on these, you need to have different scoring systems that you can divide the teams into different sections between that. Okay, these are the games that are played after we have got some scores in, so they are like semi-finals, and then they are finals. It might be a cup structure, or it might be that we just play games, and then who got most scores wins, like there's in football. We don't gather the goalie saves for the young ones, because that will be there are 4 goalies in a split field, so 2 in each half. So it would require quite a lot of people to watch. Okay, now there's a save, and so forth. And we decided not to collect penalties for just sake of it, that we don't want to show that who has been most in the penalty box. The younger ones don't have penalties when they play in a split field. They just get transferred back to the bench, and then somebody else comes in. And then if they do that regularly, then they are thrown out of the game. But they don't go to the penalty box. When you have playing a full field, then all the normal ice hockey rules are in place, offside and so on. And then we don't collect on-ice statistics, that who was on ice when a goal was made. And then we don't have a fair play. The fair play is that which team has less penalties and most scores, or plus minus saldo for the players, that who was there when the goal was made against you or for you. So this is really hard to collect at the end. It requires that the people on the making the notes are awake when things happen, and when there are parents that have been not trained, you can't really guarantee. Running a normal hockey game without these is already quite hard. And then that's the sort of where what is needed, and let's now talk about the solution itself. So I made a WordPress plugin, few thousand lines of code, so it's a big plugin that provides 2 kind of basic functions. There's a number of functions that each will provide or create one single admin interface page. So when you log into WordPress, then you have a menu, and then you can access to these pages. That there's a team information, list of teams, list of games, etc. And that's for the admin user that can add new games, can change the teams, add the players, and then there's for the editor level users, you can add and modify game results. So you can add goals, you can remove goals, you can change the saves, you can open and close the games, but you can't, for example, add or remove players, because that might end the situation that they try to remove somebody that actually made a score already. And then we have the leaderboards, and I decided to create the leaderboards with WordPress shortcodes. So I have a shortcode that generates the whole leaderboard, has some attributes to change the leaderboard. The plugin is done in English, and then the site is in Finnish, so it has the Finnish translation as attributes, for example. So we can add the leaderboards in the right place in the content structure. We can have content around them. For example, the advertisements to buy sausages, that's the usual thing, or buy sweepstakes. Each of these are in their own function. So there's a function for each thing in the system, keep things simple. There is not that much of a redundant code. I have made some helper functions that generate tables or generate forms, and then all the HTML that it generates in shortcodes or through shortcodes is in the functions. It's but ugly. I'll show it later, but it works and works for the purpose. So I didn't make it fancy. I could have done some like Twig based template engine or whatever, but would have just complicated things. So here's the admin user interface. Not really fancy looking, but not ugly either. So there's the ongoing games. We don't have currently any games because the tournament was on April, so we are not playing currently anything. There are no games now that could be ready to start, but there are only played games. And we started on 16th of April 2016, 15:10. This came Oriveden Fortuna against Luz Leppävaara. They scored 6-0. We can open this game again, so it would be here and then here, so we can toggle it from different where it goes. Because the system also shows a leaderboard of the current game, that this is the score of the currently played game. Then we can add new goal, and then we can set the goalie saves at the end of the game. And then the list continues, and then we can remove a goal, or we can edit it if this was typically the referee goes and says to the people making notes that okay, goal made by number 8, the assist was 32. Later he comes again their case and say that there was a mistake, that it's actually 34, the assist, so then they can edit it. Or if they make a mistake, then they can remove that. The typical mistake is that they mark it to the other team, because it easily happens. And then this shows one of the forms that we can do the games, that the date, time, location setup is more of a sort of magic that you need to know what you're actually doing, but it has that the Division 1A, Team 2 versus Team 1. And then the placeholder means that if you want to show some information for the people before the game has been played, or before the game has the teams assigned, because the finals don't have the teams assigned before we actually know the score of the previous games. The configuration is read from a separate PHP file. So as I said, there are different rules for different hockey, different age groups. So for example, this configuration file tells that whether the goalie saves is open or not. If the goalie saves are not shown, then we just strip all the links to input goalie saves. There are two actions registered, one for admin menu, so it adds an admin menu on the here. It doesn't show, but here is a tournament site that has sub pages, and then a JavaScript that is needed for the digital signs that will come later. And then we have 8 short codes that support all of the different leaderboards. So on code level it looks like this, that we have the activation hook that it will install itself, that we have function for installing. I don't go through that, but it just sets up the database tables, and that's it. And then we have 2 actions, the admin menu, the NQ scripts, and then the different short codes and their functions. And I'll show example of those later. As said, the admin interfaces are either tables, that was on the left side, that there's table of stuff, or it's a form that you can add or edit some data. The tables are generated inside the admin page function, so it just collects the information from the database. I'll go to that a bit later. And there's a helper function that creates forms that look really simple. That it has a title and input field, and all of them similar. You can't have anything else here. Maybe a drop down, but not much in this as simple as it gets, because I'm sort of lazy person with coding that I don't need to do anything that isn't absolutely required. And it looks like this, that this shows a team listing that I just echo the header of the table, then I run through one variable that contains teams and contains actually everything else, and then I echo line about the team, and then end the table. Not really nice, could have been done better, but it serves the purpose, and it has worked flawlessly. That's this point, that there have been 4 tournaments and no issues with the plugin itself, and I'm quite proud of that. With minimal testing, I'm also quite lazy with testing. And then the form generation goes so that I'll create an array that I want to have stuff in. Then if we are editing a team, then I have read this earlier, then I just fill that same array with the team data, and then I generate the form that has what kind of form field it actually supports. Also hidden fields, there's text box, there might be something else. This is like 30 lines of similar array, and then I call one of my helper functions here to generate the form. And then of course, if I add some extra information for the user, whether it's adding a team or whether I'm editing a team. If I'm editing a team, it might be that I don't want to actually edit the team, but I have a cancel button there and I can go back to teams. And this example is missing the magic where the team gets inserted or edited, but it's just a database command that, okay, here's the data from post, let's go through it and then inject. Nothing magic there. As mentioned earlier, 2 different user levels. That there is a minimum amount of data loss because the other one can't really remove anything that have consequences. So if you remove a team, you get rid of the players and the game and the scores or the goals and saves. So you should not remove teams. This is not safe in that sense. And then the editors can input goal saves and manage game starts and ends. And this is just handled with simply showing certain menu items to admin and not showing them to the others. It doesn't check anything, but at the end, none of the parents in the tournament won't hack the system. I would be really surprised that they actually got to some other page. So this would not work in a situation that this is a ready-made plugin available for any use. So this is not the right way to do it. But this shows my solution, that I have the menu page here, the Granny Tournament page. Anybody that has edit posts rights can do it, and then manage teams have installed plugins. Also I selected this one because I know that when you can install plugins, you can also configure it with the teams and the others. And then the snapshots you can also edit, so the people where there's the radar measuring the speed of the puck, they can then input with mobile phone that what was the speed and the player. And then to the beef, the leaderboards. I don't store any of this stuff on the leaderboards to the database, except the raw scores. I decided against doing this because I know that this server is running these leaderboards like 2 days, maximum 2 days a year, that there are more than myself using it, and it's not shared with anybody else, the whole system, so there's no need to do this really efficiently. Of course, if it would be that I would save the leaderboard and show that there would be more reads than writes, the read and write ratio is here, so that this is read like a few times more than it's written to database, and especially during the day when the game is played, when it's shown, there's always new data, so you need to refresh the leaderboards all the time. So, not to make things complex, I made a function that will read enough data and then calculates enough information based on the amount that is needed for the leaderboard. For example, you don't, when you look at the top scorers, you don't need to calculate the results of the tournament, that who is winning, because you don't show that information. You just need to have the information about team, player, and the matches where they have made the scores. So you don't need to calculate stuff. For the player list, you just need to have information about the team and the player, and that's it. So it sort of gradually enhances the information that you need to read from the database. So there are some optimizations. There are 4 steps in total. And in code, it looks like we have a GT read data function that you can say, okay, I would like to have players, I would like to have games, I would like to have intermissions, or I would like to have saves included in the data. And then based on those, it will stop its execution at a certain point and return what it has done already. So it starts with that it will read the information from the team table and then make a teams array inside the return array, and then populate that array with the team information. And that might be that there's just the teams and nothing else. We don't need anything else. Then if you want to have players with the teams, then we need to set players true, and it will then read the players and then add them to the teams, and so forth. It's like 400 lines long function at the end. And then for the team rows, it just goes through it and adds the stuff that it gets from the database object to an array, and then add it with team ID that happens needs to be string. There were some complications when it was not. It sort of changed the order of teams, because the order is here that by division, by position, by name. And then if this would have been not a string, it would order them again some other order. So I use strings, numbers as strings, to overcome the situation that this is in the order that I want to display it. And then I have other thing that is used later for the for the games, that I also put that what is the position of the team, so I can go through the divisions when I calculate the game scores. And then the first if the players are needed, then I read the players. I put them inside that there's a new players array inside the return array, and go through it, save the information. And then there are a few of the others. When we go to the game results, then it gets complicated, because then it actually calculates who is leading. I don't show the code here because it would be way too cumbersome. There are long lines and long comparisons how the things are done. But that's the gist of it, that it reads the data, all the data, and then makes ready available. The shortcode functions in the plugin, they request the data from that function. The data contains all the information and some extra needed for that leaderboard. And then the leaderboard generation is a simple for each loop that has ugly HTML generation inside. So this is how it looks on the page view. So I'm editing here a page that has a number of links that I can jump. I happen to like not VisiBook, so I tend to use plain HTML. And here's the one shortcode that shows the standings, the Finnish translations, and then it generates a certain leaderboard. And here's the goals that who has made of the most of the goals. And this shows how the saves are generated, leaderboards generated. So we first we have this is from the this variable is from the array that was read from the database and calculate. So we have we already know this is in right order, that who has saved most of the shots made against that goal. It's typically a percentage. And then if the two goalies have exactly the same ratio, that's like 100% or 0%, then if it's not, then we increment the position that this is now like number 2 or number 3 person and so forth. But if it's not, then we just increment this later, that we can skip those if somebody's tied, that the 3 first goalies all have 100%, so they are in alphabetical order, and the next goalie is not number 2 but number 4, and that's why we need to calculate it here. And then to the other part. So this makes a one line of code that whether, or actually there are 2 lines. Oh, sorry, because that's Doubler. Never mind. It has information about the position, the name of the player, the number of the player, because there might be similar names, the teams read from the other part, that who is the name of the ID of the team of the player, and then using that in the teams, and then to get the name there and so forth. So they are like in 4th order in the arrays. And then if we use levels, then we show that this is a skill level A or AA or AAA and so forth. And then actually at the end, that what is the same radio. Yes, this continues. So then it generates inside the other for each goalie. It goes through all the games of that goalie and shows how many saves and how many goals have been made in that game, and they are all in a row. And then the JavaScript that is part of the plugin, you can then toggle that on and off, that whether there's you can see the information about the information, or about the saves for individual games. And most probably nobody even noticed that it's there, but it's a really fancy feature that I'm proud of. As said, this certain leaderboards can be shown on big displays. The system rotates the leaderboards on the displays automatically and scrolls them and shows ads. We sell ads like €300 for each ad between the leaderboards, and we might get like €1,000 out of those. So it's actually the most profitable part of the system. There is this is again implemented very simply. There's a JavaScript file that has a jQuery functions that strip stuff. So there's a just remove, delete, and whatnot, and change something, change CSS, increase font sizes that it looks better. It scrolls, and then it changes pages, and it has a cool fade effect that works very well with Chrome and sucks with others. So that was the last time. So and found out that Chrome works well, and then we got Chromes on all the machines that show these things. But it actually also works with iPad. I found out that it's surprisingly well. This shows how we just got it. We just select certain IDs that we hide, and then we remove classes, add classes, change font sizes, and so forth, that it looks better. Again, but ugly, but really effective way to get things done. And then the JavaScript for that if there's a ad now that it's a WordPress page that has a certain ID, that if there's an ad now, then we just wait 18 seconds and then we load a new stuff. Or if it's not, then we calculate the distance, that how long is the page and how long is how high is the display, and then we do have how much it needs to be scrolled. Then we have the animation time. If there's no animation time, then we just make sure that it doesn't scroll other way around, sort of out of sight. And then we change the certain parameters there that it doesn't look ugly, and then we do the animation after certain timeout. 5 seconds we show the top part, and because then it shows what is the leaderboard, and then we start to animate, and after the animation the system will then do the same as here, that it will call the loader function. Okay, next page please. Way forward with this system that there's no need to implement anything new. I do hope that is true, otherwise I typically have a busy spring. It handles all the major needs for the tournaments. There might be new tournaments models needed, but probably not for the 05 and 07 now. They said they will go with the same ones. Somebody might ask this, or I answered already, that whether I would release this as a public plugin. The answer is no, and the reasons are here that from my standpoint, from the Granular EFK tournaments, there's no point putting this in open source. This is an expert system that requires some kind of expert to handle it. If I would make it a normal system, I would need to probably duplicate or 3 or 4 times make the amount of code with documentation, everything. I would get nothing out of it, or maybe I could get something out of it, but the Granular EFK would get nothing out of it. The tournament models are fixed, that there are 3 or 4 different systems there. Adding a generic leaderboard calculation system, I've done that for golf with 18 different ways to score golf results. You wouldn't believe that there are so many. It's not fun. Or it's not fun for me. It's probably fun for somebody, but I'm not that kind of person that enjoys making game models and then testing whether they work or not. Admin interfaces should be prettier. There's no input validation. You can add -7 as a player number or A or whatever, and the system might throw an error or then die. I haven't checked out, because then again the people that can add stuff, they can't do much of things. Of course, those were the people in inputting the things in the middle of the game. There are checks that the timestamps are good enough, but you can add a goal to like 67th minute of the game, even if the games are 30 minutes long. The system doesn't check that. In public version it should, and then also the access rights that is missing here that I mentioned earlier. So I won't do it, but if somebody has a junior hockey players and want to have a tournament, then I can give the code, but I won't publish it, because there is no point for me. But then if somebody wants to do it, then just send me an email and I'll be more than happy to share the code. I've done that for the 06. But I don't have a kid there, so there's 2, and then the third one is now in the hockey school, so she will be playing probably like 3 or 4 years later. So whether this system is then used, I don't know, with her team. That's about it. Thank you. Any questions, comments?
How much time did it take you to make that?
Evenings of a week, I would say. Maybe 6 or 7, like 2 or 3 hours a day, so 20 hours, something like that. I have background of making golf leaderboards in a system, golfgamebook.com, that we were doing a few years ago. So I knew most of the stuff already, so that how it should be done. So I didn't need to invent anything. I just wrote the code, and of course making sure that it works with the different kind of variation, that it calculates correctly, because there is a huge amount of fury if the position isn't correct for my son's team. So you can't guess that what is how many dash are there in the tournament office that this is not right. Probably all the people in that specific team. So you're making sure that it works. And the kids' disappointments with kids is something that I would like to avoid with any cost. So I tested it a lot with different situations. Unfortunately, haven't failed. I learned the hard way that the system should not do automatic sweepstakes. We had the automatic sweepstake in the second tournament, so it automatically, when there was two teams in the same position with same amount of points and same amount of goals made, and what was the other way around? But anyhow, they have exact same amount of goals both ways, so they were tied. The system automatically made a sweepstake, and Grankula IFK got to play the finals and not lose, and Blues was really angry because we were the organizer. So for the next year, I made sure that we can actually do a sweepstake with the coins. It's okay who goes to play, and then I can input that into the database. Okay, this team has a sweepstake. And you need to have sweepstake in different levels of the games, whether it's a final game, semi-final game, or the beginning of that. But you can have ties in all of those. So that was the only hitch that I have had.
So it's being used by many other junior teams as well?
No, only those two.
How do you know how they might have solved the problems?
The others. There are ready-made tournament support system that cost like €100. So this was not the hourly sort of saving that I made with this, just probably like 50 hours that I've been doing with all 4 tournaments. It's not worth it. That my hourly rate is like €2. Don't tell anybody. So it's not worth that. But they are but ugly. All of them are really, really ugly. There are one in Finland, one in Sweden, and they look horrible. They're mobile. This is of course fully mobile friendly and tablet friendly and so on, and can be shown in big screens. They don't. In the big screens, you are looking like badly made Excel that it's eye test to you, and the mobile you need to scroll all the time. So that was the biggest reason why I decided not to use them. And then of course it's always a challenge to make something. So that's one of the things that I enjoy doing it.
Right.
One question. In the field number of players, is there a restriction that how many players it can have?
The system doesn't impose any restrictions, but in the ice hockey rules, there you can have maximum 4. Is it 3? It's in Finnish it's change. I don't know what is in English, but you can have like 20 field players, and then 2 or 3 goalies.
Yeah.
I guess 2, so 22 person. Maybe one extra, but I don't know whether that's in the game. I should know because I'm a referee, but I don't recall it by heart. And that's now on the video, so if I get fired for being referee this reason. So it's around 20, but with the kids, we play as big teams as there's kids, so everybody can play. That is more important.
Yeah.
Typically, there is with kids there are like 2. That there's one full field and then the other full field of kids, and then 2 goals. So 12 or then 15. That there are 3 sets of forwards and 2 sets of the whatever is puolustaja, the defender, maybe. So it depends a bit of the amount of people that you have, because somebody might be sick and so forth.
I was just thinking that my son plays football, but we could use the same kind of system with his teams, and even in our school there are like football competitions, not the ice hockey ones, but the system could be used even there.
Yeah. There's no all the games that have teams, goals and scores, concept of those. Then if there are 2 different kind of goals, like in the American football or the Irish football, that whether you have a touchdown or whether you make a kick, that might be a bit problematic. But all the sort of normal ones that you have only that it's 1 point per goal, it could work. So the football, floorball, others, they are variation of the same thing. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, at the end I'll show the leaderboard with the so this is the same, exactly same leaderboard as you showed earlier, but it just strips stuff, and then it should, yes, it starts scrolling, yes, no demo effect here, and it scrolls, and these are like 50-inch screens on the ice rink arena. It scrolls to the bottom of it. It might have some text that, okay, yes, go to find waffles and sausages, because that's source of income, and then it waits, fades, and then we have one ad, and so forth it goes. And these are hard-coded in the JavaScript, what page it goes through, and all the images are aligned so that they are 16:10 ratio screens, and this shows the last match. This ratio is not correct right now, that it's a bit different, and it shows also that it was made the goals and so forth.
Does it do a page load there? Or
Yes, it loads page, it fades to black,
Yeah.
and then it does a page load and sets the there's the first element on the page that is hidden typically is a black rectangle that fills the whole viewport, and then it immediately sets that on, so it shows that it's in front of everything. It's hidden now in this view, and then it's shown in the other view, and then fades that to 0 with opacity, and then when it starts to load the other page, it fades that to black to full opacity, and then does the page load, so it doesn't flicker. That was most probably the hardest part of the JavaScript thing, to make it work, that it doesn't look really choppy, that it goes wrong, and then I tried to hide stuff on the page or remove, and then things started to fly around and whatnot, so I decided that it's better to have a separate simple thing that I can control. Any other questions? If not, then thank you, it was a pleasure. I'll post these slides to our SlideShare, slideshare.net/Exove, and hopefully tomorrow, if not today, and then we'll tweet about it, so follow us at Exove. Thanks.